Prime Minister, where she will be announcing shortly what the Labor caucus have agreed on just a short while ago this afternoon to endorse the recommendations of the expert panel report on asylum seekers. This report has called for asylum seekers to be sent to Nauru and Manus Island in Papua New Guinea, for the government to act immediately on this to re-establish centres there. More work needed, it says, on Malaysia before that can get off the ground. So Labor, the caucus has agreed this afternoon to give more ground in this whole debate in an effort to reach a solution with the coalition on this. As we wait for the Prime Minister, and we'll bring that to you live as soon as it starts, let's bring in our Monday afternoon political experts. Bruce Hawker's actually in Darwin this afternoon. Bruce Hawker from Campaigns and Communications, working on the Northern Territory election campaign up there. And with me here in Canberra, Grahame Morris from Barton Beacon. Thanks both for joining us. Bruce, I might just go first to you. The Labor caucus, as I've been reporting now for the last 20 minutes or so, have agreed to this report's recommendations. That is a further shift in position for Labor. Is it a sensible one?
I think so, particularly if Manus Island, something that they can negotiate with the PNG government, David. Clearly the recommendation is that Malaysia is an option, but more work yet to be done on it. I think it puts the ball very much back in the opposition's court now. The government can live with this report. It's got some very sensible recommendations in it about, in the longer term, increasing the intake and discouraging people from taking the dangerous boat trip. I think it's up to the opposition now to come to the party. If they do that, then this problem can be resolved in this session of Parliament.
But it does mean, Bruce, a bit of humble pie being eaten by Labor here, agreeing to what was the central element of the Pacific solution, Nauru and Manus Island.
I guess there is a bit of that, but they're not, I think, writing off Malaysia as an option. They're just saying that there's going to have to be more work done, more assurances received from Malaysia and so forth. I think at the moment, given what we do know about the the dangers, the death toll that comes from taking these trips, that the responsible thing to do is to try to find a solution, whether you have to eat a bit of humble pie or not, and that should be something which the opposition's prepared to do as well.
Grahame, do you think the coalition should now just embrace this report?
Well, look, it seems to me the government has to not only eat humble pie, but eat a humble bloody feast. Look, if you go back to the committee itself, and in the parlance of the last 10 days, they've sort of degree of difficulty huge. They've cleared most hurdles. They need a gold medal for what they've done, I think. This is not, was not easy. And you look at it, it looks as if the last 5 years of this government, 5 years, have been a mixture of naivety and stupidity, and we're back where we started, which is essentially implement Tony Abbott's policy.
But it's not everything Tony Abbott wants. The expert panel isn't backing temporary protection visas per se, nor turning back the boats.
Well, hang on. They're saying that once you get the whole package introduced, then the temporary protection visas sort of don't apply. They're not necessary.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're also saying you can turn back the boats all you like. We can do it. We just got to find out where we're going to turn them back to.
Well, where are you going to turn them back to? The point is Indonesia, isn't it? You're not going to turn them back to anywhere else.
Well, some of them can go back to where they came from.
But you're not going to turn the boat back to another part of the world. If they've come from Indonesia, that's where you're turning them back to.
Well, that's the main one, but some of them are coming from Sri Lanka and all that.
The point Angus Houston just made to us was you need Indonesia's agreement to take those boats back.
Well, that's right. That's right. But he's saying you can do it. He's saying the Navy can do it. He's saying it can be done if you've got some agreement. And it does seem to me that, look, 99% of it is the Tony Abbott policy. There will be some discussion once we hear what the Prime Minister has to say, and once the coalition's leadership and party room has a look at this. But it is all looking awfully close.
It's looking close
to Tony Abbott's policy. And I think a lot of whether or not there's agreement is all about the tone the Prime Minister uses. If she gets all belligerent and say this is an endorsement of the Labor Party policy, well, apart from the fact that everybody will laugh, if she says, look, I concede that what Tony Abbott has been saying all along is pretty right and we're going to give it a go, she'll probably get it.
Yeah, I mean, the point is, Bruce, that Labor has for years railed against the Pacific solution when John Howard was in power. And since then, it's described Nauru particularly as expensive, ineffective, inhumane, cruel, all these sort of things. Now it's going to go for it because a 6-week panel process has given it a tick.
Well, I think the reality is that we've had an opposition which has just really dug its heels in on repatriating or establishing a facility in Malaysia. If they'd been prepared to do that, then of course we wouldn't have had to go down this Nauru route. But because the opposition's taken this, archly political position, in my view, I think the government's said,
political. It's hardly archly political if this panel agrees that it's not workable at the moment, that the safeguards aren't adequate. It's not just a political line from the opposition. This is Angus Houston, Michael Lestrange, Paris Aristotle agreeing that there needs more work done.
Well, I don't think the opposition was ever serious about trying to work out any sort of agreement with Malaysia, sitting down and working out how they could make these things work. After all, the UN Commissioner on Refugees said that they should try establishing the centres in Malaysia. So, look, I don't want to go too much over that. What I do want to say, though, is that now is an opportunity for both parties to come together and resolve a problem which I think all Australians are seeing, as being, a great moment for all sorts of reasons, not least of which is the death toll that occurs as a result of people taking this trip. So I think everyone's agreed they need offshore processing. Ultimately, there should be a regional solution. It should involve Malaysia and Indonesia and other countries. Until such time as they can do that, then it looks like we're going to be looking at a Nauru Manus Island option. I think Chris Bowen should be getting up to Port Moresby as soon as possible. The elections are over there. I don't know if they've formed a new government there yet, but as soon as that happens, I think they should be up there talking those issues through with them. But
let me ask you both about the politics of this.
Answer to it.
Let me ask you about the politics of this, Bruce. Firstly to you, what does this mean now for Julia Gillard? This has been, in fact, here she comes now. Hold that thought. We'll hear what the Prime Minister has to say. Stay with us.